And like I said, it was one of those aha moments where, I spent so many years building my storage unit business, building my mobile home park business, building my real estate portfolio, building my masonry company. Those ground up companies took so much time, took so much
Mm.
energy, right? And the fact that I stroked a check for the purchase of this roofing company that somebody had already previously done all that work and built a great company. It was like, wow, the return was day after closing, and that's one of my things. I want to make sure we're making money day after closing, because I'm not going to buy a company that I need to fix up. I already know how to fix up a company, right? And they can go bad just when they're good too. But at the same time too, I'm trying to make the best decision to just step into the old owner's shoes and do exactly what he did. Same name, same employees, same customers, same pricing. Just that's what you should be buying.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Real Estate Pros Podcast. I'm your host, Micah Johnson, and today I'm joined by Justin, who's been making serious moves in the business acquisition space. Justin, welcome in, man. Glad to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, man. I'm excited. I'm excited for today's talk. I think our listeners are really going to take something away from your journey overall, how you've gone from where you began in construction all the way through to what you do now and business acquisitions in the construction space. I think it's fascinating, and they're going to get a lot from this. So let's dive in. So for people who may not know you yet, what is that main focus right now, and what markets are you operating in?
Right. So my main focus right now is business acquisitions. 90% of our companies are construction based, but and we have one insurance brokerage, but it's mostly construction. And here's the thing too: it's construction and real estate are synonymous with one another. The one affects the next. Very, very many times in life, we deal with a lot of real estate brokers, real estate investors, property managers. And I was a real estate investor myself for a number of years. So.
Well, and it is intertwined. That's the interesting thing about real estate to me is I called it the spider web. When I was going, especially building relationships, making sure I knew the right people to call, it's like, what all touches real estate? I mean, you get out to those outer levels, there are all kind of things that feed into it that if you don't have that, it doesn't work out.
Right, right. Not at all. Not at all. I've had every experience possible, good, bad, and in between with myself and our companies and different investors. It's the more education investors have on the cost of construction, all the better, right? And different plans to lay out for them to maintain their investments.
Let's dig into that for just a second, because again, that's your long range experience. You've been in construction a long time. This is something you've done personally, paid attention to deeply. So for an investor that's listening, what is a good way to make sure they're ensuring they know their costs? They understand what's going on.
Well, to know what they're buying too. Here in Pittsburgh, I know we have a lot of old architectural buildings and houses, Millionaires Row, all these big Victorian crazy houses. And it's great it's great flex to say like, hey, I bought this and I'm restoring it, right? But like, just as an example, you buy an old historic house like that. Do you even know anyone who can do that type of carpentry, can do that type of masonry, can do that type of roofing, right? B, do you know what the cost of access is too, right? Like, I don't know how many times I've done a crazy 12 slate roof on these big old houses, and they're just blown away by the prices, or the chimney, right? The chimney's 60 feet in the air. Or same thing with property managers. There's good property managers, there's bad property managers too, right? It's like, stuff it 10 feet off the ground is not going to stay the same cost as stuff at the same scope 200 feet off the ground, right?
Right.
So yeah, just things like that. But it's all experience, and it's all education.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
And I come from a historic area too, down here in St. Augustine, Florida. And we have areas downtown, and I've met folks like that. You're absolutely right. You get into one of these older style properties or something that's unique, and the tradespeople that you need changes. It is not the same. It is something very different if you want to maintain the level of beauty, just the whole asceticism of it, like, or the aesthetics of it, to make it keep staying that way. Your guy out there throwing up 20 shingle roofs a week, he doesn't know how to do that stuff. Your normal carpenters, they don't know how to do those typical things. So that is your experience too. I think that's fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a shock. It's a real shock. And what are you going to do?
Right.
Like, you're screwed
Right.
at that point. You already bought the property. It's yours to maintain now. And I don't know. That's how you get over leveraged, I suppose.
Yeah, it is. It is. Again, there's a quote I like that, especially in real estate investing: we're deal finders, not deal manufacturers. Like, you get into things, and the more that needs to go right for it to work, man, the more that it has a chance to go wrong, right? The too
Right.
many things needing to line up. It's like, I said it the other day, it's like we're at the end of football season. When you're a team that needs 3 other people to lose, 1 to win, and you don't have
Yeah.
any control, that's not good, right? You are no longer holding your destiny in your hands.
Right. Absolutely. Right.
So you mentioned that you were in real estate investing, and then you shifted more into business acquisitions. What did that shift look like, and what have you learned along the way so far?
Well, like I said, we started with a masonry company, grew really fast, became one of the bigger players in the city. And there was a guy, he that we worked with. Sometimes we would sub some work off of. He owned a roofing company, and he offered to sell it to me, and I did. And like I said, it was one of those aha moments where, I spent so many years building my storage unit business, building my mobile home park business, building my real estate portfolio, building my masonry company. Those ground up companies took so much time, took so much energy, right? And the fact that I stroked a check for the purchase of this roofing company that somebody has already previously done all that work and built a great company. It was like, wow, the return was day after closing. And that's one of my things. I want to make sure we're making money day after closing, because I'm not going to buy a company that I need to fix up. I already know how to fix up a company, right? And they can
Right.
go bad just when they're good too. But at the same time too, I'm trying to make the best decision to just step into the old owner's shoes and do exactly what he did. Same name, same employees, same customers, same pricing. Just that's what you should be buying. And
Right.
that's the way I feel like you should buy. I don't know why you'd buy something that you got to spend more money, and I'll keep my money. You know?
Right. Well, it lines up with too the fact you've done it. When you've walked the road of building a company and multiple from the ground up, and then you see like, okay, I don't want to do that part anymore. Like that part's great and all, but that's not what I'm after now. It shows that natural graduation of investors in general, where it's like, okay, what is that part that I do want to do? What is that that makes sense to me? And then your rule of I want cash flow day one. I want it to be making money day one. Okay. Now we can back off from there. Which one will let me do that? And you, that aha moment where the roofer brings it to you. And again, the value of a relationship right there for them to approach you that way. Hey, that shows in general, like behind the scenes of how you're going about what you do, anyways, because it's not everybody just walks up to someone and offers them to sell them their business.
Yeah, yeah. And like I said, there's things that we look for. Obviously, financials is first and foremost. What's your tax return say? I don't care what your QuickBook reports say, your Excel spreadsheet says. I want to see what you told the IRS that you made, right? Because there's no arguing that, right? And the second thing is how longevity of how long you've had your employees, how an owner talks about his employees is a big thing, right? Is it
Interesting.
is this company a great standalone, or is it only profitable because it's going to be in my holdings now and it's getting work from my other
Gotcha.
companies, right? It has to
Right.
work standalone as well. Don't get me wrong. We sub each other work all the time and share numbers and share leads, obviously, but it has to be self-sustaining.
If you're looking for consistent, high quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Which makes sense for your overall goal because you're trying to eliminate chance and eliminate instability. And if it can't do its own thing, then again, it's not lining up with cash flow day one. Can you do this and maintain yourself? And lines up again with you're not trying to build that first section anymore. There's this new section you're trying to live in. What are some challenges you found in this space?
Well, how about the overvaluation of all these companies, which, like I said before, it's not. I don't blame them, but whenever you give me 5 years of tax returns and you're showing a loss on every single year, like, where do you get 5 million bucks at whenever half of it's goodwill and your assets are rusting out in your shop, with 10 trucks and a few pieces of equipment? Where's the $5 million come from? Where's the $10 million come from?
Right.
And if I'm going to finance it, what bank is going to say okay to that? Maybe a Shylock or some, like, one of these, like, undercut, like these, like, little capital firms that middleman, like, crazy interest rate, mezzanine loans and everything. But that's all semantics, and it's too much. It gets too hairy with that. Like, let's just make it simple. Like, this company's not worth it.
What has been the way that you've been able to show that? Like in terms of when you're working with those people, is there an owner that tends to come around, and is there a one that you see really quick? Like, nope, we're not even going to try to do this.
Well, I've learned things over the years too. Every deal I learn more and more. But I think now what I try to do is lay out at least a range of what I think the company's worth. We'll get a
Got
formal valuation done for sure, but at the same time too, that formal valuation, I don't always trust those either, to tell you the truth, right? Listen, it is if I'm taking a loan for a company, right? Does my debt service, or does that company support the debt service? Am I going to be underwater on my cash flow? It's very simple. It's very simple. You know what I mean? Or, okay, if I'm spending all my money on it, right? If I'm financing the whole thing myself, just using my own cash, like, all right, how many years is it going to take for me to get that money back and then start making more? Right? Like it's simple as that.
Pretty simple, like know your numbers and then be able to explain it. Now, what have you found in terms of owners you work well with? Like when you're identifying a company, you mentioned it for a second, like how do they care about their employees? I think that's an interesting thing. How are they talking about them? That's fascinating. What other things have you identified that like, okay, this could be worth pushing further. This might be the kind of company I want to buy.
Yeah, the I like the owner that doesn't seem to be in need of money. That seems to be a trend. He's just like,
Interesting.
okay, well, we don't have to sell now, then that's no big deal. I'll just keep doing this, or guys who are kind of savvy enough to know that if they're trying to make a tax play, they'll break it up into seller finance payments, right? That's beneficial to me if I especially the if I could keep the banks out of it, or I don't got to spend all my money all up front. That's great. Those guys seem to be, they're pretty level headed, but there's other, I've had a couple guys where I bought it outright, and they're still working there, and they're just, they're awesome, and you learn so much from them, man. Some of those
Right.
guys have been operating construction before I was born, and you're never gonna. It's invaluable with the stuff that you get, the pieces of information you get from them from time to time.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
I couldn't agree more. Like, there's nothing like being around somebody who knows. And
Yeah.
it's almost like that aha moment that you had where when you could just buy that company, it seems so obvious. When those really knowledgeable people drop it on you, it is always like that. Like, same kind of thing. Like, man, that is so true. How didn't I see it before? And it's because you never could have seen it before. That's your blind spot. It requires that
Right.
other human's experience to be like, well, this is what I went through and here's what I've learned. And that's where, to me, man, life's a learning process. Until it's over, you're learning something along the way if you're paying attention,
Absolutely. I'd way rather learn from somebody else's mistakes than my own. I can tell you that.
right? It took me a few years to understand that better, but that has been the the big last change in the last decade of my life is you don't have to do this the hard way. There
Right.
is no glory in struggling. And it seemed like
No.
I was taught that growing up. Like, the harder it all is, the more glory there is. Like, I do not buy into that anymore. That's how you have a miserable life.
Right. Right. Correct.
So, looking ahead to 2026, what's on your horizon? What are you out there paying attention to? Any particular goals you have?
I don't know. No, look, in the business act, now I have goals that I've worked with for each company with the guys who run them, right? Like we have our own set of goals for each company but from a holding standpoint, I would never put some kind of like, hey, we got to buy 3 companies this year, we got to buy two
Gotcha.
companies this year, we got to buy 5, whatever it is, because it's you have no idea when the right deal is going to come. I'm just going to keep looking at them, and when the no brainers come up, that's when I'm gonna try to attack it, and they're few and far between. There might be 2 in a year, and there might be 2 in 20 years. I have no idea, but
Right.
you get that angst of like, hey man, I haven't done anything for a while. So I pray for a lot of discipline when it comes to that, where it's like, hey, just have that temperament of not just buying something that's for sale and you're bored, like,
Right.
or that new shiny object. It's like, is this do my kids recognize that this is a good deal, kind of thing, like,
It's true, man, and that can I appreciate you saying that because I feel a lot of times arbitrary numbers get put on a year, especially for unique style of investments where you can either beat yourself up or make a huge mistake based on just some silly number that you put out there, said that we got to get to this or we got to get to that. And there's no real reason why except to let's just do it because I'm bored. And
Mhm.
the older I've gotten, the more I realize how good boredom is. Out of boredom comes the good ideas, comes the
Mhm.
reality of like, oh, this is a no brainer. You got to be bored to see it as a no brainer. If not, you're just putting fires out all the time.
Right. Right. Yeah. I I don't get as angsty as I used to get maybe like in my 20s or 30s, and I'm 43 now. So, but I still at times am just like, and especially with counting, I have such a high importance on accounting in my companies, right? Like, hey, I think I roofing company. I think the accounting in a roofing company is just as important as the shingles laid, right? Absolutely. The finished product is just as important as the accounting because one represents the other. And there's a lot of ways in accounting that I've come to find out, especially in the last few years, that it can make things look good when they're really not. And you have to, accounting's a language, and you have to understand it and weed through the bullshit because there's a lot of, business brokers, real estate brokers. I mean, they can alter things to make things look really good when they're really not. So I'm very 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 weary of that type of stuff.
Well, it makes sense. And I want to ask a question around so you have 11 businesses now in your portfolio there. What's it like to be the guy at the top now? What's your week look like when it comes to spending time with each business, involvement with it? Because there could be a misidea that you buy businesses and then you just sit back, do whatever you want. But in our pre-talk, that's obviously not the case. There's still things you need to be involved with. Can you dig into that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a very strict schedule every week. Very strict schedule. I meet with every single company at a certain time. Some of them multiple times a week, right? And I check in with all the controllers 3 times a week to check on bank accounts because there's two things that in a business is there's productivity and profitability, and then there's cash flow. The two are completely different, right? I could have a great month for my work in progress from a construction company, and I won't see that money for 60 days, right? So I have to make sure all our receivables are coming in, our billings are coming in correctly. So there's different things in that nature. But I'm also talking to every single president every single day that runs each company. Um, and it's funny you bring this up because I was just girlfriend and I were coming home from dinner last night, and I was telling her, I said, there's something I really need to start thinking about. If we buy more companies, where's that time going to come from, right? Like I just there's very little time left to
Right.
efficiently, right? You know what I mean? I don't just want
Yeah,
to
you're
be
at
a
11.
person there. I want to be, making some kind of, making it efficient, right? So that's stuff that I work on. But no, it's full. I don't care if I'm thank God for this. Hey, thank God for these Zooms and Teams meetings and Google Meets because like, if I'm traveling anywhere, which I never travel anywhere, but I'm actually going somewhere next week. But uh, I can still stay, I can work at home a lot of times, which is cool, you know what I mean? And that definitely helps out. Keeps me in contact with people.
I think it's one of the best things that came out of COVID was the normalization of a Zoom call where
Hmm.
even if I'll talk to my friends sometimes, just FaceTime Zoom call because it
Yeah,
feels like you're hanging out, like you actually
right.
feel like you're together. And that was not the case pre-COVID. These were
Mm-mm.
very weird to be on. You were just like, I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
now it's as easy as just it's normal like talking to people. That's one thing I built an office in my backyard so I can just come out to my stay home. I like to be home. I like being around and build a space where I can mess with the whole world from here, man. It's beautiful.
yeah,
Travel around when you
yeah,
need
yeah.
to and capitalize. I think that's what's cool for our generation, man. We get to experience a whole level of efficiency. Most did not. Like, and you nailed it there with you're starting to hit max time. I mean, what a question to ask yourself and honestly to be soberly honest about. Where
Well,
will the meeting time come from if I add more? Where will this
it,
come from? And it's like that's a real problem that a lot of folks just skip over. They just want that next. I want to say I own 12. I want to say I own 13 versus I actually want them to cash flow and I actually want them to do what they're supposed to do. And I also want to enjoy my life.
and dude, remember, this is a monotonous life that I have. Very
Mhm.
monotonous, and it's, man, managing any one business is like a diet. It is maintenance. It is constant maintenance, right? Because it can get away from you like you wouldn't believe, like in real fast too. So just like a diet or a workout regimen, like, you want to stay healthy, you want to stay in shape. Okay, you're going to the gym every day. You're going to the gym 5 times a week, and you're not eating garbage. Same thing applies to managing businesses.
It's what can you do for the long run? How long can you just keep doing the same things over and over and over? And that's who you see become the best. That's why Tiger Woods was Tiger Woods. That's why Michael
Hmm.
Jordan was Michael Jordan. It's you can't imagine the thousands of times, millions of times at some point where you didn't see them practicing. You didn't see them hit the same shot over and over and over.
Right.
And everybody loves the glory reel. We all want to be on Sports Center, but you don't get any of that unless you do exactly what you're doing. And I think that's where there's a lot of misunderstanding in that space, that to truly do this well, you are working yourself towards boredom. You're working yourself towards a very established routine, but from that routine will actually come the life you really want. It's how it works. Doesn't feel exciting all the time. There were times where it did up front, and that's what we typically compare it to, right? You get a lot of guys that keep redoing. They love that beginning because there's that thrill and that rush, but there's no long-term true gain from it.
No, it's and a lot of pain. A lot of pain goes into it too. A lot of expensive lessons and pain, and to be perfectly honest with you, it's not you're not winning any popularity awards amongst the people you work with, and in your friend zone gets a lot smaller. I could say that for sure.
Yeah, that's true. Well, man, I really appreciate your time today. Before we wrap up, if someone wanted to follow along with you, learn more about what you have going on, what's the best way for them to find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and my Escajeda Holdings page is on all of them as well.
Excellent. Well, we'll make sure those are in the show notes for everybody that's listening to find, so you can reach out, learn more about Justin, see what he's got going on. Again, man, I really appreciate your time, your story, your
Yeah,
perspective today. I
absolutely.
think we need more folks out in the space doing it like you're doing it intentionally. There's a reason behind everything you do. It's very methodical, and I appreciate that. And all the people that work for you, I'm sure, appreciate that. It creates happy lives, man. So great job. For those listening, if you got value out of today's episode, please like this episode, share it around, subscribe to our podcast. We've got more conversations coming up with operators just like Justin, who are building real businesses that are going to last a lifetime. So thanks again. Thanks again for joining us. We'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.